It is no secret that Anakin had various disagreements with the Council during his time in the Order. In today's video, we are going to discuss what if one of these disagreements led to Anakin begin his own Jedi Order. Anakin was deemed the chosen one, and with that comes an ego of sorts. He thinks of himself as ever powerful and craves the power that people see in him. This may lead him to believe he is better than the Jedi and create his own order. I was thinking of when Anakin would leave the Jedi Order and start his own, and I believe the most likely time would be with Ahsoka when she leaves the Jedi Order. "I'm sorry, Master, I'm not coming back," Ahsoka says before she leaves the Jedi Order to never return. Anakin would chase after her to try and convince her to stay, but she has made up her mind. Anakin would then say, "If you're leaving, then I'm coming too." Master and apprentice, Anakin and Ahsoka leave the Jedi Order and Anakin decides to create his own. Anakin's order would be much different from the normal Jedi Order. The Jedi Order forbids attachments, allows emotion, but this emotion cannot be acted upon. This obviously goes against what Anakin believes in. In his time in the Order, he used his anger to his advantage, his attachments to his master and apprentice to motivate him in battle. His love for Padme goes directly against the Jedi Code. Anakin had used his emotions his entire life, and this worked perfectly well for him, so in his order, he would favor these ideals. Emotions and attachments are welcome, and control over one's emotions would not be a priority of his order, as he does not experience this trait. Now Anakin leaves the Order the same year in which he is turned to the dark side, so this must be sidestepped somehow. I believe Anakin would take the Order off-world, away from the Jedi. I doubt he would tell the Jedi except maybe for Kenobi, maybe to Naboo so he could get closer to Padme. Anakin would invite anyone into his order, regardless of age. He would accept younglings, of course, but also those scattered around the galaxy that were not picked up by the Jedi. He would even accept those that were refused by the Order, believing his teachings could make them more powerful than the Jedi ever could. Anakin himself would search the Outer Rim for children blessed with the Force. Anakin would also be closer to Padme on Naboo. After Padme gives birth to the twins, she would give up her job as a politician to be with her family. Palpatine would plant the dreams of Padme dying in Anakin, but as he is far away from Coruscant, he would not seek guidance from him, but rather Ahsoka and Padme who are near him. I think Ahsoka would be a huge help here. Once the twins are born, they train with Anakin and Ahsoka, but ultimately start off as normal children. Anakin, being the Grand Master of his order, spends most of his days teaching. He would use a more practical way of teaching, taking his students on missions to show them how to do things firsthand. This would then be followed up with meditation afterwards, reflecting on the lesson. But now with Anakin not turning to the dark side, Palpatine must change his plans. At this point in the Star Wars timeline, the Clone Wars have gone on for too long. Palpatine had succeeded in his goal of corrupting the Jedi with the dark side with the Clone Wars, and he is satisfied by this. Because of this, he would turn the tide in the favor of the Separatists. General Grievous would lead an assault on Coruscant, similar to that in Episode 3. It is during this battle that Sidious would execute Order 66. Many of the Jedi would die at the hands of the clones, and instead of Anakin leading the charge on the Jedi Temple, Sidious would himself, with General Grievous and Count Dooku not far behind. The Jedi Temple is sacked by Sidious, Dooku, and Grievous, including Mace Windu, who may have been enough for Sidious one-on-one, but not all three. Anakin gets wind of what's going to come, says goodbye to his family, and brings his order to help on Coruscant. They are not Jedi, but are still light side warriors that oppose Sith ideals. They arrive at a similar time to Yoda, who was on Kashyyyk. They engage the clone army as well as Sidious, Dooku, and Grievous. Yoda takes on Dooku, Anakin takes on Sidious, and Ahsoka takes on Grievous. Sadly, Kenobi will die in the Purge at the hands of Cody. Anakin argues with Sidious about how he deceived him all these years, but it's pointless. All Sidious can think about is ending Anakin, now his greatest threat. However, I believe that Anakin Skywalker, not conflicted between dark and light, would be able to defeat Lord Sidious, ending his short reign. Anakin would then join Yoda to defeat Dooku and Ahsoka Grievous. With a good portion of the Jedi Order defeated, they must rebuild. However, some Jedi lose faith in the Order because of how easily it was corrupted by darkness. Some defect to Anakin's order and learn the ways of the Force through him. From this point, the Sith are no more, but there are two light side orders in the galaxy. Whilst Anakin and Yoda are alive, there will be no conflict between the orders. They have somewhat an unspoken agreement. The Jedi Order will rebuild on Coruscant, and Anakin's order will continue to grow on Naboo and spread around the galaxy. For the next tens to hundreds of years, there will be minor conflict between the orders that gets easily resolved, but eventually one of these conflicts would spiral out of control. Anakin's order would be continued through the Skywalker family, with James Skywalker, a distant relative of Anakin, being the Grand Master. At this time, the Grand Master of the Jedi Order would be Grogu himself. 400 years after the defeat of the Sith, both James and Grogu individually send a squad to the Outer Rim to deal with a mild burst of dark side energy, with James sending his daughter, Rose Skywalker. However, on this mission, only the Jedi Return and Rose ended up dying in the conflict. James accuses the Jedi of killing Rose and confronts Grogu himself. James asks for the Jedi who were on the mission to be arrested, but Grogu refuses. James threatens Grogu that if he doesn't hand them over, then he will declare war on the Jedi Order, something Anakin should have done all those years ago. And this is the beginning of the light side war. The war would last years, although Grogu's order was larger. Although Grogu's order was larger, James's light side ideals were more advanced than the Jedi, resulting in more powerful members. The light side of the Force, allowing attachments, proved to be the correct path towards power in the light side of the Force, something the Jedi refused. The war would ultimately end with James defeating Grogu in combat, but not killing him. Grogu was levels above any other Jedi in the Order, so his defeat in combat was as good as the Order losing itself. The remaining Jedi were arrested and jailed. The end of the Jedi Order. James's order was weakened and crippled, losing half of its members. However, this was the plan all along. The Sith had been waiting for their time. They knew that if they killed Rose Skywalker all those years ago, the two light side orders would wage war between themselves. James thought the war was over and that he had won, but this was the moment he sensed it. The return of the Sith, the wave of dark side energy that hit him like a tsunami. Reports started coming in from the mid-core planets that a huge fleet of Star Destroyers heading their way towards the core, taking out planets on their way with the might of their fleet. This new Sith Empire didn't follow the rule of two, but was an empire that branched from the Sith species that escaped Bane's dark side ritual that killed most of the Sith all those years ago. They rebuilt the empire from the ground up, taking over 1,000 years to regain their power to ensure victory. James could sense this, the number of Sith making their way towards him. He guessed they outnumbered them 10 to 1, both in members and ships. He tried to raise motivation in his order to fight back, but everyone could sense what was coming. Anakins Order, led by James, attempted to face and defeat this ancient Sith Empire, but they were completely flattened. The Republic was completely sacked, with all life in the galaxy being wiped out. The Sith would rebuild their empire and spread throughout the galaxy. They now had free reign in. No one could oppose them. Thanks for watching guys, please leave a like and let me know what you think in the comments below.